The following material we are about to discuss may not be suitable for some listeners. Here at TJ's Mixtape, we are aware that some topics may be upsetting and or triggering to some.
In no way do we condone the ideas presented and are strictly recording for review and for your entertainment purposes. Thank you, and please enjoy your listening.
Welcome back!
Yeah?
Yeah.
Get out of your system? It is. It's weird when we don't for a while.
It is. It's true.
I realize I talk Fallon's ear off a lot more about shit.
She just started going like, oh, Jacob needs to get back.
we were walking home from dinner the other night, and I guess I'd been talking for a really long time because she just goes, "Do you miss your friend?" I was like, Am I talking about movies too much? I think that was a subtle hint of shut the fuck up.
This should be a lead. That's awesome. Yeah. So if that's so funny. Well, I don't know. I mean, I missed you.
I missed you too.
Yeah.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Hey everybody!
Yo!
Welcome back, and welcome back to Jacob. He is back from Spokane.
Hey, yes, and revitalized and not sunburnt this time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no. My friend Carrie, she was very much on top of like Jacob. Put some more sunscreen on. Put some more on now.
Oh yeah, because you went camping during another heat wave.
And then I was
there.
also out on a lake for like 7 hours or like 6 hours of a day.
How many mogwais? Or no, how many gremlins? We'll get into that.
I would say the trip itself was a mogwai.
Good. That's good. Let's not explain it. Let's just start
see if
using
people can pick it up. Yeah,
start getting it.
All right. So this week is a movie burp. Apparently, this week is a movie review.
I feel like you have a burp on every recording.
I do.
Every fucking recording.
Dude, I'm like Rick from Rick and Morty sometimes. I just like fucking can't control my burps, okay? So this is the continuation of the recommended unseen movies.
Oh, yeah. This is the end of that, right?
Yeah, so if you remember 2 weeks ago, we did Gangster Number 1, which Tommy recommended to me. I had never heard of it, had never seen it. And
you liked it.
I liked it. So this week, what I recommended to Tommy was 8mm, which he has never seen and never heard of as well.
And I liked.
Yeah.
And I also realized that you and I picked both pretty fucking intense ass movies.
Yes, we did. This one I feel like takes the cake on the intensity, though. You know what I mean? Like, because this, we'll get into it, but like this movie should be rated NC-17.
Yeah, we'll totally get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 8mm was released February 26th, 1999.
Oh, I'm like, no, June. Oh, that's Wild Wild West notes. I'm on the wrong page.
Oh, wow, you're back there too.
Yes, February 26th, 1999. It's got a 6.5 rating on IMDb, and it like the box office wise, it didn't do great. It was kind of a bomb in a weird way.
I mean it wasn't
money.
It wasn't the worst one because it was about a budget of about $40 million and it made roughly 36. So it lost about $4 million, which that's a lot of money, but not in the movie world.
Yeah.
Like, you could definitely have done worse.
I mean, if you don't make at least half of your budget back, it's considered a failure.
Yeah.
So like you got to make your budget and then half
to be a succeed.
Yeah.
To be considered a success. Oh,
yeah.
I see. Okay, cool.
So domestic box office, it was like it was number 56. Worldwide, it did better though. It was 42. Like it actually like worldwide income gross
income.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is that the right word? It almost like doubled its domestic gross income.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So this movie. It aired first in Berlin, I think, and then it aired in America.
That's funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah. The nature of this movie a little bit.
Yeah. I'm just like, German torture porn. And just, if you listen to Wild Wild West, so we already did 99. But just to give again, just real quick, that's a
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. Sixth Sense, Austin Powers, Spy Who Shagged Me, Toy Story 2, Matrix. That's kind of to give you an idea of when this movie was coming out and what it was going up against.
Yeah.
But for context, Tommy synopsis.
Yes.
A PI, and again, it's kind of like Gangster Number One. It's hard to think of anything super funny about the content. A PI finds himself thrust into the underworld of porn, attempting to discover the legitimacy of a hidden snuff film, the thing of legends. Because they don't exist. They're a rumor. They're a myth. I went to Sean Connery. I was trying to do Nick Cage. I don't know what happened there.
They are a rumor.
Sound like drunk Keanu Reeves.
I know.
But yeah, so that's the premise of this whole thing.
Yeah. And it's I watched this movie when I was way too young. I think I watched it when I was like 15 or 16 for the first time.
I don't think it's too young. I think that's a good age for it.
Sure.
It's intense, you know.
For the movie that I just said, yeah, it should be rated NC-17.
Well, it should have been. It would have been better.
Which actually, this movie has a little bit of history about it. It was almost rated NC-17.
Yeah. Well, wait, before we get into that, let's do directors and writers.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll get into the like whole, because that goes into the
yeah. I got a good amount of like notes and whatnot and stuff
about the NC-17.
Not just that, but also like the falling out between Joel Schumacher and Andrew. Yeah.
The director of this was Joel Schumacher, which is random as fuck. And
well, not really, because in his early career, like he did The Lost Boys and like St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah,
It wasn't when he like agreed to do Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Because you have like Lost Boys, Flatliners, Falling Down.
Yeah.
I didn't know he did Phantom of the Opera and Number 23.
Yeah, those I wasn't aware of those as well.
Once I saw Phantom, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That, especially thinking about Batman and that's how grand of a thing it was.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Also, by the way.
Yes, he passed away last year.
Yes, we lost him last year.
But
also didn't know that.
Oh, I kind of forgot about it, but I remember hearing about it.
I remember hearing about that.
But yeah, no, he actually agreed. He wanted to do. He agreed to do this movie because after the failure of Batman and Robin, which he actually, like a couple of years ago in 2017, apologized for the quality of Batman and Robin. Like he was like, "I'm sorry, that movie was really bad."
Oh, I was thinking of. I'm like, Batman, I'm still fine with Batman Forever. Like,
Batman Forever's okay.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a while ago, but yeah,
we never released that episode.
No.
None of the Batmans have we released, and I'm so fucking pissed. I'm like so annoyed by that.
He took like a little bit of a hiatus from doing stuff after Batman and Robin, and then when he came back, he's like, I don't want to do anything Hollywood big budget. I want to do something small, blah da da da, and he agreed to do this because like his agents like sold it. It's like, yeah, it's edgy, it's it's testing a career type thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's why he agreed to do it. And then enter Andrew Kevin Walker.
Andrew Kevin Walker, writer for Seven. Mm-hmm. A screenplay writer for Sleepy Hollow and The Wolfman were the ones that stood out to me the most. And I just want to like, if anyone's never heard of this movie and you're like, ooh, like underground porn written by the guy Seven, it doesn't hold as much oomph as Seven did.
No, it doesn't, but there's a reason behind that, and that's because this movie, this script that was filmed is not 100% his script. So a little history with Seven for Andrew Kevin Walker as well. When he originally like had his like script for Seven being like passed around studios and whatnot, they were telling him to like soften it up, like take the head out of the, like they don't have the ending that as it was and whatnot. And he was like, okay. And then David Fincher was brought on for interest with studios, and someone accidentally sent David Fincher the original first draft with the ending of Seven, like what we know as the ending of Seven. Mm-hmm. And David Fincher was like, I want to do it with this version. That's it.
Oh.
Which then Andrew Kevin Walker was like, oh, I could actually have more integrity as a writer. I can put my foot down maybe in Hollywood a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so he wrote 8mm, and then boom, like here I got a note that I found this is also kind of like confirmed through like I have like interviews. I found an interview with Andrew Kevin Walker as well, where he kind of confirms a lot of this stuff as well. So this is about 8mm. Once again, the film's production encountered concerns regarding the dark subject matter, and the studio asked Walker to lighten the film's tone. With Joel Schumacher as director, Walker felt a rewrite would no longer be needed. But as it turned out, Schumacher supported the studio and made changes of his own, leading to a much publicized fallout between the two, with Walker virtually disowning the film and walking away from the set. He refused to even watch the film, which became a critical failure.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Huh.
And the original script, it was reworked by Joel Schumacher and a writer called Nicholas Kazan, he doesn't have any credit on the movie. It's like there's something I want to like do a little bit of research into this, but there's some type of like ruling in for like a writers guild or something of like how your name is attached to a project and how other people's names can become attached to a project.
Oh, okay.
So I think like that's like, but people like Seth Rogen's known as like as a a script doctor in Hollywood. Like he never gets like a writing credit for stuff, but he gets a lot of scripts where he goes
fixes them
and fixes them, or like it like cleans like you're missing beats over here or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like Nicholas Kazan with Joel Schumacher, and then I forgot I looked up Nicholas Kazan, but I forgot what whatever. Oh, he was older. He wrote a lot of older stuff, but are you pulling? Yeah, that's right. Nicholas Kazan.
Oh, he looks familiar.
Oh yeah. Bicentennial Man, Fallen. Yeah.
The Whole Truth. I really do want to watch that.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting, and like
Matilda.
Also, Andrew Kevin Walker, he had a bunch of like projects written for like Batman versus Superman, and like where is it? Like right here is like after the announcement of the subsequent success of Batman Begins and he had stuff written for like X-Men and Silver Surfer. He had like a bunch of like interesting like comic book stuff written, but after like as soon as like other people started taking the mantle, all of his scripts that studios had, they just shelved them.
Yeah.
So he has like a Silver Surfer script just shelved, an X-Men script just shelved, a Batman versus Superman script shelved.
Those would be fun to read.
Yeah, right.
That'd be interesting, especially a standalone Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? Okay, sure. Like that's interesting, I guess. But yeah, so
we just went to writer. But yeah, so do we want to go? Let's go into actors.
Actors.
Because I only wrote down 4, but I should have added Catherine Keener now that I realize it. But
this movie is a smorgasbord of pretty great actors, actually.
It is, yeah.
So we got Nick Cage to start off with,
and if you don't know who Nicolas Cage is, then the bees, not the bees. Sorry,
that's not even like how Nick Cage. National Treasure, Face Off,
Con Air,
Wicker Man,
Raising Arizona,
Kiss of the Vampire. No, Shadow. No, Vampire's Kiss.
Something like that.
Vampire's Kiss.
Yeah. Something around there.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R.
Oh my God. Don't do the whole thing. But this is also for reference. This is a little more grounded Nick Cage.
This is a very much grounded Nick Cage, even though the movie causes like the character to become unglued in a big way.
He doesn't like he's not doing that. Really.
Yeah.
He's not screaming through the movie. There's a couple scenes, but also there are like screaming Nick Cage moments, but they actually fucking fit.
They're justified.
They're justified. They're not just out of nowhere. Then we have Joaquin Phoenix, which he's a baby in this.
Yeah.
And he was great.
This is like I think this may have been one of his first films after. Like, I think the previous film to this may have been like a Parenthood with Steve Martin and Keanu Reeves and whatnot. He plays like a 14-year-old kid who's doesn't have a father figure, and Keanu Reeves is like his like kind of like a brother-in-law almost type thing gonna happen. Like becomes his father figure, Yeah, and he's like 14 in that, and I think he's like 20 in this. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix, Joker.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Signs.
Yeah, The Master. The
Her.
weird. Yeah, the weird documentary of him losing his mind, trying to become a rapper.
And this is
what is that?
This age too. This is Joaquin Phoenix, is also very grounded.
Yeah,
just as a person.
It's very grounded, but I mean, his character is very much. I don't know how to describe. I mean, just like I don't know. He's like a punk rocker in L.A.
I mean, but when I think of Joaquin Phoenix, unfortunately, I always just think about is there a frog crawling out of my head?
Oh, God damn it.
That's what I don't even think of a movie. I think of that. I'm like, I remember watching that, like, ooh. The interviewer's just like, what?
It's so weird to think that all of that was staged, actually.
Yeah, but...
like, he committed to that shit so well. It was so weird. And Casey Affleck was fucking recording that and directing that shit. Did you know that? Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. That's funny. I love the Afflecks.
James Gandolfini,
who I guess most famously Sopranos.
Oh yeah,
you've seen him in other stuff. Like he was in The Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
He was in.
I just wrote down Sopranos. Oh, he also passed away in 2013.
Yeah, and
he was kind of like he had a sudden heart attack at the age of 51.
I forgot I had an entire list of. I just didn't turn the page. Well, I kind of want to talk about him for just a second because he passed away in 2013, and I forgot how fucking phenomenal of an actor he was.
Dude, he's so good.
And, like, it's one of those, even he is like, even his side things that he's done where he's just had a minute, like even in The Mexican, he's like a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And he's like a gay bounty hunter, becomes best friends with
it's Julia Roberts.
Yeah. And he was phenomenal.
He's so good. I love that movie so much, actually.
But he's in Crimson Tide, Get Shorty, 12 Angry Men, the remake, obviously. Last Castle, which I've mentioned before, and I think everyone should watch that because he plays the warden of like a military prison, and he is terrifying.
Oh, okay.
He's just like he's God basically, and he's this total like God complex, and he's really good in that. But yeah, I just want to throw out. I just forgot, especially in this, he's just everything he's in. You can tell he's always still like the wise guy. Yeah, kind of feel to it, but he just does it really well, and I'm really gonna miss him because I thought he was.
What's
really
great in this movie is how much of he's kind of like he's a little bit of that, and he's also kind of weaselly, and he's kind of he plays like fear really well.
Yeah,
as well.
And it's weird to see, especially like Tony in a fear position because he's always in everything. He's always in a position of power.
Yeah, it's like his character is in this eddy pool, and there's like a lot of moments where he doesn't have control of the situation.
Yeah, he's very much just like riding the chaos, which is really weird to see him in that kind of role.
But he plays it so well as well.
He does a really good job.
I mean, he was just a phenomenal actor.
Yeah. Next is Peter Stormare, who Big Lebowski.
Yep, Big Lebowski as one of the nihilists. Constantine, he plays Lucifer.
My favorite, I think, my favorite role. It's he. Like that entire movie, I'm like whatever about until that last 10 minutes where he shows up as the devil and he's
awesome.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
he's just hissing and just. He's
in John Wick 2.
Yeah, he's the Russian, sure fucking will meme. If you don't know, can't put a face to it. Brothers Grimm, Bad Boys 2, Chocolat. The guy's been around forever.
He has a lot of voice acting credits for who
is he?
Justice. I mean, I saw one. He did Mr. Freeze in a couple episodes of one of them.
Yeah, he does a lot of voice acting, and he's got a great voice for it.
I didn't realize he had done a lot of voice acting for DC and Marvel stuff. So I was like, it was kind of like, oh, that's cool. I mean, the voice acting thing is always a pleasant surprise.
Well, it's one of those like I didn't realize it too until I read the credit. And oh, totally. I don't know how I didn't put that together before. It's like Clancy Brown. Like, of course that's him. Like, obviously, like Clancy Brown is a Lex Luthor. I'm like, oh yeah, totally. He was. Okay, right on.
Let's go on to Catherine Keener next, who she plays Nicolas Cage, Tom Wells' wife in the movie. She's Amy Wells, and you would recognize her from like the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Did you write anything?
Hamlet 2.
Oh yeah, Hamlet 2.
She's awesome in Hamlet too.
Yeah,
because she's a raging asshole. She's very funny.
I forgot to write her down, so I don't have a list for her to.
Simpatico. Oh, she was in Death to Smoochie, which I don't remember, and I would love to review that.
That would be a great one to review.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
I haven't watched that in such a long time. Into the Wild, which was depressing and great. Bad Grandpa. Oh, I guess most recently, if you need to think of something, Get Out. She's the mom that hypnotizes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
she does the spoon thing.
Yeah.
And then I guess for voice acting, she's in Incredibles 2. She's like the bad guy in Incredibles 2.
Oh, is she?
The inventor lady.
I need to watch Incredibles 2 again. I've only seen it once. And
That's all right.
I guess maybe it just didn't pick
It didn't have the lightning in the bottle like the first one did.
Yeah.
And I think their mistake too is that they did it directly after.
I thought that was like years before.
No, like the story.
Oh, I see what
It's
you mean.
direct. They should have made it so the kids were older. They were older. It would have been funny if they were like aging superheroes.
If Jack was like
a teenager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's my opinion. But anyways,
homie's got an opinion about something. Imagine that.
And then a fun mention, Norman Reedus.
Oh yeah, I mean he has like a bit part in it, but like it's a young looking Norman Reedus.
Yeah, it's teenage. And I just wanted I did the math of this.
He was like in his late 20s, right?
I just didn't realize that he is 52 years old.
Yeah.
I did not realize that Norman Reedus was 52.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah. He's one of those people that's just never going to age, kind of.
Yeah, like, he does, but he's just doing it very gracefully.
It's like he just gets more rugged.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's because he's like, he always looks like dirty and Daryl. But yeah, Norman Reedus is Daryl.
Well, in Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, sorry. And I guess,
Anthony Heald, you would probably recognize him around some stuff.
He's Anthony Heald is always the scumbag politician.
Yeah, kind of. He plays a teacher in a show that I watched when I was a kid called Boston Public, and it was kind of like a drama series.
He was in Boston Public?
Yeah, he was one of the teachers.
I mean, I haven't seen that in a very long time.
I mean, it got canceled, so and that fuck, dude.
And then Chris Bauer.
Yeah. Chris Bauer, I don't recognize him from anything.
What? If Fools Rush In, he's in Face Off, High Fidelity, Parks and Rec, True Blood. He's he's a sheriff in True Blood. I guess is the most.
I mean, he's got a like. I see him and I'm like, yeah, I've definitely seen this guy around, but yeah. Also, you don't see his face really in this movie until the end.
The very end. Yeah. So yeah, that's the cast. Great. Again, great cast. I think a very random cast. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say it's a very fitting cast. Like everyone's cast super well.
Totally. If you had before this told me that Joaquin Phoenix, Peter Stormare, and James Gandolfini were in a movie together, I'm like, what? What? Like, what is it? Like, what is the movie? And then if you were to follow with, it's about a snuff film, I'd be like, okay.
And it also like Nicolas Cage is the lead.
Yeah. You'll be like, what movie is this? It's, you know what I mean? It's just a really interesting movie. Should we go into reviews?
Really quick, I just wanted to kind of talk about the NC-17 thing before we get into reviews, because this movie it has a very, very what's the word I'm looking for imagery? Very realistic, not realistic, but
gritty, dark.
It takes it's a lot to take in. You know what I mean? Like with all of the bondage films and just like the underground sex scene, the depravity of the people that are in this world, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I also because as you know, I look at like reviews and everything, and then I watch the movie, so I go in, and I think that works out in a time like this too, because I was reading all these reviews and they're all written in the 90s.
Yeah,
they're 99 to 2000, and reading it, I was like, it was when I had off, and I was reading all these reviews, and I was like, I don't know if I'm like really in the mood to watch this right now, like headspace wise.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, fuck it. So I opened up a beer and I threw it on and I was like, all right, let's just watch it and get it over with.
And it turns out to be a lot different than a lot of that, but it's still a lot.
Yeah, but it's just like, I'm wondering too, because of when it came out, I was kind of like, there's shit out now that is like, I'm wondering if it's the time period that it was like way more intense, because it's like Hostel's out now.
Yeah.
And it's very, a lot of the things that they were talking about, a lot of it's very implied.
In this movie?
Yeah, like you're not actually seeing it.
That's true. Like you're seeing like
reaction to it.
You're seeing the cusp of it almost, and then like the aftermath. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was kind of like, I was expecting something a little more.
Gore, it's not so much of the gore of this movie as more the psychological idea of what is happening to these people.
Yeah.
But also when you start watching, when they're showing like clips of these bondage films, it's a lot to just, even as an audience member, to kind of like, you see the beginning of it and then you see their reaction, and you're implying in your own mind how horrible the stuff they're seeing, because if they're wincing like that, it has to be bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really quick. This is from IMDb trivia. The film was originally rated NC-17 and took around 4 or 5 edits to get it down to an R-rated film. Joel Schumacher learned that he could not go forward with 4 consecutive scenes of simulated or graphic images. After several edits, the film satisfied the MPA after making the drastic cuts. So,
but I think that fucked it up.
Kinda, yeah.
Because it's a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
And like in Valentine, my point of that too. It's like you had a finished product, and now you have to go back and take a bunch of stuff out that teeters on like, well, now the vision you had is now being chipped away.
Yeah,
really hard.
So on top of that, and so on top of like not being really Andrew Kevin Walker's like truly fully realized script, and then Joel Schumacher. Could you imagine if it was actually Andrew Kevin Walker's actual script? Like it also. So that article that I found from him is on this. It's an interview directory or an interview, like it's called The Talks, and they have like interviews with like Aaron Sorkin and a bunch of different artists and whatnot, and they talk about his falling out with Joel Schumacher, and then even Andrew Kevin Walker talks about what his original ending for 8mm was my version ended with the character being so changed by the experience that he basically just drove his car into a bridge abutment and killed himself.
A what?
Abutment, abutment, a bridge, I don't know what that is.
A bridge.
Into a bridge.
Okay, a bridge.
Or off a bridge. I don't know.
Well, remember that word. We'll look it up.
Yeah, as I was reading, I'm like, I don't know that word. Woo! But he's also talking about like Tom Wells' character through the movie was also, as he like went farther down into this like underground world of porn, he himself found like he wanted him to be kind of like taken over by it as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I still think they did.
In a different way. I think what Andrew Kevin Walker originally wanted is him to actually like maybe like start hooking up with a prostitute, or maybe like somehow starts getting addicted to this like weird bondage stuff.
Basically, Tom Wells would have become Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah.
Remember that movie?
No.
You never seen Bad Lieutenant?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's a Nick Cage movie.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen every Nick Cage movie.
That's
okay.
You should. Well, Mr. Nick Cage over here.
God.
Bad Lieutenant's pretty good.
Wait, actually, this is a really cool website if people want to like look some interviews and whatnot of like some really cool artists over the last couple of years. TheTalks.com. It's pretty good.
I'm actually going to write that down right now because that would be helpful for the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, do you want to go into some of your reviews that you found, Tom?
Yes, I would love to.
I just called you Tom. That was weird.
That is weird. Don't do it again. So this is titled "Natural Porn Killers" by Desson Howe at the Washington Post. In the uncertain zone between dumb and truly twisted lies... Oh, excuse me. I did that again. In the uncertain zone between dumb and truly twisted lies 8mm, a movie that will baffle and disgust you in one disconcerting experience.
Okay, yeah.
Which I was like, okay. All the Sleaze You Could Possibly Want by Craig Marine at SF Gate. This is not a movie for the squeamish by any means, but for those who like their thrillers dark and their heroes a bit more complicated and flawed than the average shoot without a blink type, so prevalent in today's movies. 8mm fits the bill. Basically, like, yeah, especially for this era too, was the sheriff, coming in and the shoot 'em up kind of thing, and this was a little
Wild West.
Yeah, So this was like, I think that's the best way to describe it. Also, because this movie didn't really, like, even if you go on Metacritic and they do their like average, if you see right here, it says overwhelming dislike.
Yeah.
Critic scores 4 positive, 6 mixed, and 10 negative.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I really like this movie, but I can see why it can get some flack, because it kind of feels like the movie changes towards the end of it, because like it starts out like as like a neo-noir and then turns into like a revenge film.
Yeah.
Like as things start to fall apart post him coming back and like from the porn director dude getting that whole like fiasco after Max California gets killed and whatnot. The movie just kind of derails into something very different, but it's still grounded. It's still the story of Tom Wells and him and like the effects of what this snuff film has now done for his life.
Yeah, and it's more of like in a weird sense too. It's a very much obsession film.
Mm-hmm.
Like little things.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Getting too invested into a case and then like suddenly having blinders on.
Yeah.
When you don't know when to stop and when to pull back and kind of re-ground yourself, Because even like Roger Ebert wrote a review for this and he didn't rip it apart.
He really liked it actually.
Yeah, which I was very surprised. I thought Roger Ebert was going to rip this apart. Like even there's a little expert right here. It's a real film, not a slick exploitation exercise with all the trappings of depravity, but none of the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave it like 3 stars. I was really surprised by that. I was like, I thought you would have ripped this shit a new hole.
Well, because the movie keeps you captivated, and I feel that Tom Wells is a very real character.
Yeah.
The only thing is like in real life, would he go and have revenge and kill these people?
Yeah.
But maybe he would because he is a PI. And the fucking world that he went into did change him. Well, let me get into my review here real quick, and then we can really go into the movie and discuss it. All right. The film 8mm is not for the faint of heart. Following private investigator Tom Wells, the movie takes us into the dark underground of the adult movie world in attempts to prove a found snuff film as a fake. The farther we watch Tom go into this world, the more we see him change and become affected by the depravity of the sexual acts, leading him to become a broken man on a path for revenge. This movie doesn't hold back much in showing this underground world. It's an uneasy movie to watch that keeps you captivated as Tom Wells slowly uncovers the mystery behind the snuff film he is investigating. He is forever changed when finally face to face with sleazy porn producer Eddie Pools in the abandoned house where the snuff film was made. After killing Eddie, he burns the house down, in return burning away the innocence that Tom Wells fought to keep the entire movie. By the end, Tom is forever changed, desperate for his family and despondent. Though the movie ends on a happy note, with a letter from the mother of the innocent girl that was murdered, Tom is given closure and the hope to move forward with some sense of normalcy. To quote Max California, "If you dance with the devil don't change. The devil changes you."
That was like the coolest line in that movie.
So one of your song lyrics?
It was cool. Like smoking a cigarette, and just the way Joaquin delivered it too was really good. I was like, that was solid, Joaquin.
Yeah.
That was a good moment.
Really good moment.
That was a good moment.
This movie is strangely about like change, obsession.
Yeah.
At first I was thinking it's like maybe it's redemption, but it's like no, there's really no redemption in this movie.
No one has like a redemption arc really.
Like,
because even then it's like, some people, I guess you could say getting revenge is redemption, but then other people, it depends on your view on it. Some would be like, well, now you just slowly, like, you went down to their level.
It's not justice, it's punishment. Sorry, I was just thinking about that from Punisher.
They say that?
Yeah.
That's a damn good movie.
Punisher?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Anywho,
hey, Nick Cage, John Travolta. John Travolta's a great bad guy.
That's true, yeah. But yeah, like, there's the one scene really stands out to me, and I can't remember where it like places in. If it's after, I think it's after he's killed Eddie Poole, and he's going to find the machine, and when he's on the plane, and he hears like the baby crying on the plane, and just the look on Nick Cage's face of just like that, like it's like sick sorrow, realization what he has done, and knowing that he may not have a family anymore. And it's just like you just see him just like
I didn't catch that.
Despondent. It's one of the, like, it's really, really good. It's a really great just like no word scene of just Nick Cage just kind of like kind of soaking in the reality of what he has done and the reality of the choices he has made.
in like all honesty, and just in my opinion, I think my biggest problem with this movie was actually Nick Cage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like you could have found someone better casted. I really think that especially in this time, someone else could have just done better.
I was reading around that Russell Crowe was kind of in the talks for it.
He was, and then it was supposed to be kind of more like a camcordy held gritty kind of thing, and then it became this big production, and then he was like, he liked the idea of it being.
I read that it became big production once Nicolas Cage was on board.
Well, yeah, because his Nicolas Cage's agent apparently got wind of it, and then they wanted to do it, so then it became a big production. So yeah, and I was thinking that I was like, Russell Crowe, yeah, sure, whatever. But I think going into the Nick Cage thing, I think my biggest problem was Nick Cage and his wife, Catherine Keener. Catherine Keener. Never for a moment did I ever actually believe that they were married.
Really?
I felt like they had no chemistry.
Interesting.
And that was that whole thing that we always talk about. I felt there was no
tension.
Especially when it gets to the end and the family's being threatened, I didn't feel any emotional investment because I didn't really feel like any moment they had until the very end.
When he's choosing, I mean, he's very despondent towards her because obviously he wants to protect her from what he's doing in his career and his path. But when he's packing his stuff and he's leaving to go take care of the people, to kill them essentially, and he turns around and he looks at her and he says, "I love you," very true, as they had before through in the entire movie, just like the way that he shows his love and her zero response, and him just kind of taking that in.
Oh no, yeah,
and then him just making that he's making the choice to leave, and then the look on her face of shock, oh, he really is leaving.
And it didn't sell it for me.
That's crazy.
And even just because even the beginning when they're having their phone conversations, he's going cross country trying to figure this out. I really just didn't feel any kind of real level of anything between them, and I just think that they didn't have real chemistry, maybe they didn't get along super or something. I don't know. But I never really felt this moment of, I didn't give a fuck about the family. I mean, I just never got invested.
I mean, it's supposed to be the way to give Nicolas Cage's character, Tom Wells, that humanizing factor of this is what he has.
It's grounding him.
Yeah. This is what he has to lose with what he's doing.
Totally, yeah. I just was watching and I was like, I don't feel this connection between them.
We should give a little bit of a synopsis of what this movie is. We've talked about snuff films and all the stuff, and for this family, and I don't everyone's we haven't told what this movie is really about.
Yes, okay. So Nick Cage, sorry guys. So Nick Cage plays Tom Wells, a PI who's known in every fucking review, who's known for his discretion and his secrecy and blah blah blah. But he gets hired by a widow matriarch type character who basically, after her husband passed away, they went to his safe and they found a film. And lo and behold, it's a snuff film. So they hire Nick Cage because he is secretive and he won't go to the press and whatever. And her concern is, number one, she doesn't want this to be real. And she specifically
hires him to find the girl.
Yeah, basically. It's a missing person.
It's the hopes that she is alive type thing.
Because she doesn't want her husband that she loved very deeply being into this kind of shit, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, she hires him, and that's basically just this whole journey. It becomes a missing persons case because we're informed very quickly that snuff films don't exist.
Yeah.
And even if you go and you look online about what they are and everything, even the FBI has not confirmed any.
I'm pretty sure if there are any that have been found, they're probably it's kept under wraps,
Yeah, but the FBI officially is anything that we have been presented has always been proven to be theatrics.
Yeah.
So to Tom Wells, Nick Cage's character, this is the thing of myths. This is something that you don't actually make and find and everything.
Yeah.
So with that, we go on this long journey in leading to
Nicolas Cage. He ends up like a fucking needle in a haystack. Actually finds this girl's goddamn missing person profile.
Yeah, before internet sleuth. Had to physically go there and find the carbon copy of everything. Yeah,
exactly. Just damn. It's actually there was a really good moment of when he finds it, the music just kind of swelling up, oh, you're oh, he found it. Oh my god.
So his journey takes him to this woman's house where basically it is her. He confirms.
Yeah.
And then he finds through a journal, and also when he found the journal in the toilet.
I know. Actually, that's kind of like, she's been missing for how many years, and you've never opened the back of this toilet?
That'd be like the first. Number one, I would just look there.
Yeah.
And number two, your toilet just worked. Like the chain didn't break.
Yeah.
You never once looked in there for it. Like I just thought that was weird. I'm like, that's where people hide guns and shit. Like look there.
It's like the FBI didn't look in there.
Yeah. Like the cops didn't look. Yeah. I was like, that was kind of silly. But he finds out through her journal that she had moved to LA to become to the Golden State.
She wanted to be an actress because her boyfriend thought that, told her how pretty she was, even though her boyfriend was a loser asshole who was Norman Reedus, who's actually in jail in this movie.
He's always the same fucking dude.
I mean, that's the thing about Norman Reedus is that he's a grounded actor in just being himself. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's like we always talk about. He's comfort.
Mm-hmm.
You hire you when he's in a movie, you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
he's a comfort food actor.
Mm-hmm.
So basically now the journey takes him LA, and pretty much the movie just takes place in LA at this point.
Yeah.
And this is where then we are introduced to Joaquin Phoenix, who is
works at a porn shop.
A struggling musician who is now in this world. Mainly he got this job just to pay the bills, but like his character is very much to symbolize that this world will eat you up.
Does Eddie Poole's character get introduced first? Or does Joaquin Phoenix's character get introduced?
Joaquin, because Joaquin's the gateway into everything else.
Yeah, but I was just trying to remember because Nicolas Cage, he's walking around like casting directors, studios, and whatnot, and
maybe you're right.
And he like shows the picture to Eddie Poole's,
and he has an obvious
reaction.
Yeah, so that's how Tom gets maybe that's why he called me Tom.
Not possibly, yeah.
A lot of Toms in the last couple episodes. Also realized, I never knew this was like a rule, but if there's a Tommy in a horror movie, they die, and not super great with that knowledge.
Well, I mean, Tommy was supposed to be the kid that defeated Jason in all the movies. Like Tommy's an essential character in the Friday 13th franchise.
Yeah, doesn't he become a killer?
He becomes Jason, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not talking about that.
Sorry. We had to have one. We got it out of the way. But yeah, so we're introduced to
are we talking about
Gandolfini? What's his name?
Gandolfini, I think that's right.
Gandolfini, yeah. And yeah, he's like a porn producer. He's just a gross porn producer.
He's a casting producer, yeah.
And so
I mean,
where are we at? I'm totally sorry.
I mean, we'll just quickly as Tom is like searching, he's going to like porn producers because he through to Norman Reedus' character, the ex-boyfriend, he said something about her like getting a job at a titty bar or something. But if you ask me, her titties weren't all that great.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that unnecessary little jab at her.
No, then he's like, hey, can I have a smoke? And then Nicolas Cage drops a cigarette, puts it out. I don't smoke. I love stupid one-liners like that. Anywho, you get introduced to Eddie Poole. Maybe it's actually Max California first, and he finds Eddie Poole's casting stuff through all of those like that stack of like porn magazines he gets.
Yeah, and I guess that I think the most one of the most important characters in this is Joaquin Phoenix's Max California.
Yeah,
because he is the gatekeeper. He is the one that basically the way I thought of him was the prophet from Dante's Inferno.
Ooh, I like that parallel.
He takes him through the different levels, getting deeper and deeper and deeper, getting into the more obscure pornography, I guess is a way to call it.
Yeah.
The not so legal stuff.
Yeah.
And it starts off just and it's a very interesting visualization too, because it starts off just in a porn shop, right? And then you go into like a swap meet kind of porn thing. And it's like a creepy warehouse, and there's bins that say like kids and shit on them. And it's like every time you see Joaquin Phoenix Max, you know that we're gonna go down another level because we need to get to where the
devil is.
Where the snuff is. Yeah. That's where we need to get to, and it's just
where the devil's gonna change you.
Yeah. And I gotta say, man, I really liked Joaquin Phoenix in this.
He was really good.
I really liked him. I found, and I was very invested when he spoiler alert, when he gets killed. I was very much like, oh no, bummer.
It also kind of comes a little bit out of nowhere because
I didn't think that was gonna happen.
Yeah. It's a great swerve because you're thinking like, okay, they've done everything they've asked for. It's like, okay, release him. Nope. And by release him, he means slit his fucking throat. Nobody gets out alive.
Oh yeah, and I guess like so basically through this whole dive, then we finally get to Dino Velvet, Peter Stormare. And he is a very well-known BDSM,
extremely subliminal and what is it? What does Max California say? It's like some people call him an artist, some people call him
sadomasochist.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he says, but it's basically like, and even like Max is like, it's not technically illegal.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fucking close to illegal. And great. I can't think of a better casting for a creepy ass BDMS producer, director
who
guy.
Sees his weird porn as like the like embodiment of art.
Yeah, like he is an artist, you know. It's so weird because he has that director mentality that you know, that I shit gold, but it's for a very like an extreme fetish, I guess is the best way to put it. You know,
I mean, and so while like Max California is like taking Nicolas Cage for all the stuff, like as Tom Wells' character, he doesn't realize really what kind of shit he's getting himself into.
Yeah, like he doesn't, because it's. I just thought of the dean from Community. I hope this doesn't spark something in me. You know, like you don't know until you see it. Like,
yeah. And you like through all of this, like you can see like it's starting to wear on Tom Wells, like watching all of this, like this porn and like BDSM and extreme like gore porn and stuff. And
they find a couple quote unquote snuff films, but very clearly see it's the same actress.
They debunk it pretty fucking quick, which is what kind of like leads them to finding like Dino Velvet's kind of stuff. Because Nicholas, every single time that they debunk something, is like, okay, well, what's harder than this? You know?
Well, yeah, and like the kind of the catalyst is the porn. I guess the porn star, the Machine, or Machine. Not sorry, Bert, not the Machine. A character named Machine, and he is a big guy that always wears leather and a leather mask. But the thing that is like distinguishable is he has a pentagram tattoo on his hand.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, we find out, that he works with Dino Velvet. So let's hire him to make a film, and then we'll find the Machine, and that will lead us to the girl.
Well, and it's like when you really think about it, and they didn't really think this through, Max California and Tom Wells, they're going to go to Dino Velvet, and they're going to ask for this movie. They're going to ask for a commission a film with Machine after Tom Wells has already called Eddie Pools and said, "I know what you did." About all this girl. So, and Eddie Pools has already called Dino Velvet, like fucking somebody knows.
And Nick was he was watching that conversation.
Yeah, watching that conversation, and then all of a sudden, this weird dude who doesn't look like really belongs in this world is now asking for a Machine to be in this film. So Eddie has been called out. This weird dude is asking for a Machine who killed this girl to be in a specific movie. Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Dude, you're putting out a red fucking flag for these people that made a goddamn snuff film.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That was not thought through.
No. No, they thought they were being sneaky and coy, and it's like, no, you really weren't.
You really weren't.
Maybe I should be a PI. So, yeah, after commissioning this film, trying to get Machine into it, they get to a warehouse, and Nicolas Cage is like ready, like he has a gun, and he's like ready to like end the shit or do whatever, you know, get his shit figured out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, they're aware of what's happening, and lo and behold, the fucking lawyer comes it shows up with Eddie Poole,
the widow's lawyer.
The widow's lawyer,
to like make it clear.
Well, the rich guy's the rich guy's lawyer as well.
The family's lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rich family's lawyer.
And you find out that he was behind the financing for these people to make the film for the rich white dude that died.
Yeah.
And you find out that he also fucked him over. But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix's character shows up again, like after like Tom Wells kind of sent him away, like you've done enough, you've helped me enough, go on, this is as far as you go. He's now tied up and beaten and then put onto a cross that porn dude has been shooting crossbow bolts at the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Foreshadowing.
That's so random. This guy would have a fucking crossbow.
Yeah, right. Right. Essentially, it kind of like unfolds like they want the negative of the film because there's only one negative of this film, of this snuff film. So they just want to destroy it. So then the evidence of them killing this girl is gone.
Yeah.
And once they do that, then Nicolas Cage is like, all right, like just let the kid go, and then they slit his throat, and then they find out that the lawyer got $1 million and they only got like 20 grand each or something
like that. Yeah.
So he like totally fucking ripped them off.
Yeah.
And so the lawyer gets killed by.
There's a lot of good tension in this scene too.
There's a lot of buildup. Like the porn crazy, what's his name? Dino Velvet. Freak accident, gets shot in the neck, like the artery of his neck. This is not how I die. It was supposed to be more cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the lawyer gets killed with a fucking bolt. Machine starts attacking Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage stabs him in the gut. Eddie Poole, then like Nicolas Cage gets his gun, and he essentially escapes. With Eddie Poole and Machine are the only ones alive.
Yeah.
But Eddie Poole knows the family. You know, this is when Nicolas Cage calls his wife. He's like, "You got to get the fuck to the place.
Yeah.
You got to get out."
Well, even Dino Velvet has like...
Oh, he threatens his family.
Well, first he's like, I will kill Max.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's like not enough to incite you, he pulls out the picture that he had in his wallet and says something about like, oh, the beautiful films I can make with these two.
Yeah.
With the mom and the baby.
Yeah.
It's a baby. Like, you're like...
Hey, 2 movies with some family-threatening scenes.
And he like puts the picture in his mouth.
Yeah.
And like eats it. Oh, it was good. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, you are an evil motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is when things kind of really spiral out of control. So Tom Wells, he informs the old rich widower that the film was real.
Oh, like in a really bad way.
Yeah, there was no couth. No,
calling her panicked, like hyperventilating.
Think about like the mindset he's in right there, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, like, tell the old lady a little more calmly and in person. I feel like you need to have a face-to-face about that.
Yeah.
Be professional,
but
Tom.
I mean, yeah. So the old widower finds out that her husband had this movie commissioned and then it was real, and it breaks her heart. You know, that to find out that her husband was the type of person that would like this type of shit, you know? And so she takes her life and ends up leaving a note for Tom Wells, which is pretty much like, just let it be type thing. Don't worry about it anymore. Thank you for the information.
Yeah.
And then also another letter for the mother of the young lady that was murdered in the film, which is pretty much just money for them.
Yeah.
And like an apology type thing. But Nicolas Cage, he can't rest. Tom Wells can't rest knowing like Eddie Poole.
Well, even then he called the mom and did the same thing.
Kind of, but that's a little bit different.
Yeah, but I'm like, you're not doing. You're not breaking this.
I want to get to that point because
okay.
actually that's kind of like that's the turning point that I was talking about. Like he burned down all the innocence of himself in that moment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tom Wells knows they're going to be searching for him. Eddie Poole isn't going to let this go, type thing, you know.
Yeah.
So he has to go and search. So he goes. He wants some type of fucking closure for himself and for this little girl's mother, you know.
Yeah.
And he already knew where Eddie Poole was, like, or Eddie Poole's like porn house was. So he like finds him there and then like pretty much kidnaps Eddie Poole. Has Eddie Poole take him to the abandoned house where they filmed the snuff film.
Yeah.
And then a great scene with
oh, you're right. Okay. Right. Go continue.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm remembering
this amazing scene with Gandolfini. Like Nicolas Cage is like tying him up in this place, you know, and he's like, they have this like great back and forth, and then Nicolas Cage has the gun to his head, and he just can't pull the trigger. He just can't do it. It's like the humanity inside of him is not letting him kill this person, and Eddie Poole's just sitting there, yeah, just fuck, you can't fucking do it, can you? And he's like licking the gun and shit, and like calling him the F word and shit, and just like. Well, and that's also like a great, like this scene was really great with Nick Cage too. Like me kind of saying I didn't care for him so much, and this moment I think it was just really great. But it's also like Tom is trying to get a reason. Like the sane part of him is like why did you do this? Like there needs to be a reason behind it. Like why was this made? And then his literally every reaction is pretty much because we fucking could.
It's like he just wanted it.
Yeah.
The old man paid for it just because I think he says, because he could.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't sit well with Tom.
Yeah.
That's not a reason. That's not a good, like almost like a good enough reason, I guess. He just can't wrap his head around how easily this was like done. This was just such this was a Thursday afternoon for these guys.
They keep saying like, do you think anybody fucking cares about this girl? Yeah. She's a nobody from a nobody town. That she comes to a big city. Yeah, women like her disappear all the time, and nobody fucking says anything. It's just like, why do you care so much about this?
And Tom just cannot, he just can't wrap his head around it. And then it turns into the next scene where he calls the mother of the missing girl, of the murdered girl.
Well, because he also, earlier in the movie, he was like, if you could have the choice of just believing that she lives a happy life somewhere, or to know the truth, and if that truth was something you didn't want to hear, what would you want to know?
And she was like, I'd want to know.
Yeah, she wanted to know the truth.
Yeah. So Tom calls her, and in a bout of hysteria, basically.
Yeah, and he's like, I have them, and I can hurt them. He's like, I have, like, your daughter is dead. I'm sorry, type thing. Well, no, it's no sorry, just like, she's gone. But I have the people who hurt her, and I could hurt them. And he's like, give me permission.
And she does she actually?
She just, I think he takes her hysteria.
Yeah, because she's just like crying no and like breaking down.
Yeah, like
it's hearing the hurt in her that
it's like a parent to parent. It's like, I know what this means.
Yeah.
And like, instead of going in and shooting Eddie Poole, he takes the butt of his fucking gun
and beats him to death.
Beats him to death. That's also a great scene when he like you see it kind of, and then you just kind of hear it, and then he walks out of the door and like he's just shaking, holding the gun, covered in blood, just like kind of that kind of like in Gangster #1, that realization of like, oh, I've just fucking done this.
Yeah.
Type thing,
that unhinged moment.
Yeah. And it's such great. Because it's literally he burns the house down.
Well, first he gets the trunk full, all the porn he's collected,
all the porn
trying to solve this case, dumps it on the lifeless body, covers it with gasoline, and lights a match.
That was all Eddie Poole's porn. Because Eddie Poole was stacking up porn inside of his trunk.
Oh, it's his?
Yeah, that is Eddie Poole's car too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I knew it was his car.
Yeah, that was all of Eddie Poole's porn.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, it's so it's a very metaphorical scene of like Nicolas Cage burying Eddie in the trash that he has made in this place that he created, like this horrible scene, burning it down, kind of like in a weird way. It's like
rebirth through the ashes.
Rebirthing through the ashes, like, you know, but as opposed to like reborn, like something like good and anew, Nicolas Cage comes out completely changed with a loss of innocence.
Yeah.
Which is then it goes to that scene on the airplane that I was talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah, with the baby and everything.
Yeah. And how does he find Machine? I forget.
It was actually pretty ingenious.
That's right. I remembered it now.
Yeah, so we out of the 4 involved, we have 1 left, and it's the Machine who actually did the murdering.
Mm-hmm. And also Eddie Poole kind of gives the note that he lives somewhere in New York.
Yeah, so basically, Tom just calls hospitals, pretending to be a cop.
Yep. It's saying that there was a false report.
Yeah, and he's looking
for a victim.
Yeah, a knife wound victim around this weight, Caucasian, blah,
abdomen
blah, blah,
wound.
Yeah, and then ends up finding the machine, the character Machine, and where he lives, and then goes to his house, basically, and not basically, literally, and like just kind of watching him, and it's really awesome. It's a good it's a really good cat and mouse,
and it's so tense.
It's really good.
Like I forgot, like watching it, like this is the first time I'd watched in like 10 years or so, and like Like it's just like that. Those final moments with Machine are so fucking tense.
Mm-hmm.
Like as he's walking to the house, and it's like Machine clearly knows he's there somehow, you know. And it turns into a struggle. They fight. Nicolas Cage gets thrown out of a window into a graveyard that this guy apparently lives by, and Machine follows in suit.
Joel Schumacher found that house.
Oh, really?
He was just driving around. He saw it, and he was like,
"Oh, that's right. I remember reading. Yeah,
this is the house.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like the final scene right here."
And finally, like Tom Wells gets Machine subdued in some way, and has him take off the mask. And
because he like put on the mask again.
Yeah, because he's wearing So because the biggest thing is the mystery of who Machine is,
and he's just this unassuming
dude,
white
bald.
guy,
Yeah,
like glasses.
No,
like, living with his mother.
Yeah, and what's really crazy, like he has that like little monologue. It was like, not what you expected, right? You're expecting some sort of monster.
Yeah, and the whole like, I wasn't beaten, I wasn't molested,
Yeah.
I was like basically what you're looking for is for like again an explanation.
Whatever reason you're looking for
is not
you're
there.
not gonna find.
Yeah, like there's no like again like Tom is looking for an explanation from these people on why they are doing what they do, and he's just like, there's no reason. Fucking could, and I wanted to. Gets raining. It was good. It was a good scene.
Yeah, and then finally Tom he offs him. He kills the guy.
He just shoots him, right?
No, I don't think he actually ever shoots anybody. I think he stabbed him again or something. Like his machine's on top of him and he like reached for something and like.
Oh yeah.
I think he stabbed him in the jugular or something.
But yeah.
And then finally Tom is able to go home. Also, he gets cut like he has to go to the hospital. He gets like sliced up by Machine. So pretty much when you last see Tom with his wife, he's like, go home, everything will be fine. Or go home in a couple of days, everything will be fine. And she's like, well, when you get home, we may not be there.
Yeah.
So when he gets home, and the first thing that he'd always done is like he goes to the baby crib, and then he
starts breaking down.
And he sees his daughter there, and it's that realization like she didn't leave him. Like she will still be, and then he goes and he just breaks down in her arms, and he's saying, "Save me."
I think a lot of the like that scene too is when he walks up to the baby. That is officially the case is done. Yeah, it's the long breath. You know, he's been holding everything in, and that's the moment he can finally just be done.
And it's like it didn't take everything away from him.
Yeah, it's like it's the long sigh.
He didn't lose everything because of this fucking case.
Yeah, and then he goes into the bedroom with his wife and just like falls into her arms basically, and is just sobbing, "Save me,
save me."
That was good.
Save me.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that they didn't do the initial idea of like he gets so. Because it's like so distraught over this that he ends up committing suicide. I mean,
if with Andrew Kevin Walker, like I would have liked to see the script of it because maybe it's justified in a weird way.
Yeah, but
I don't want to say suicide's justified. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no, but it's like I feel like I like the idea of that it didn't.
It has a kind of a happy ending.
It didn't break him.
Yeah,
he's still holding on for his family.
And he was
kind
still.
of thing.
You can see that he is a changed person, especially because the final scene is him like raking leaves, and like at the beginning of the movie, you saw him like raking the leaves for the house, and doing like, being on top of his chores as a I
want to live there.
Oh yeah,
I loved it. It was all gray and all the leaves had fallen.
But like he's just sitting there, kind of like raking in one spot, and the leaves are just all over the yard, and you can tell that he's not mentally there fully.
Yeah, he's still a little.
And then you get the letter from the mother of the girl, which, as I said in my review, just kind of like that gives him that closure.
What does the letter say again?
It's essentially that she was like, when you first told me, I hated you for telling me because I didn't want to know, but I realized that it's better for me to know and I can move forward now. And kind of like, I want to thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah.
And I think he ended up giving her, because she got all that money as well. So she's like, I can get the therapy that I need and I can move forward and I can have closure in my life. And I hope you can
I hope
as
you
well.
do the same. Yeah. It was a very much like,
no,
again, it's the end.
And you see like him look up and like Catherine Keener, his wife, kind of like sees, like it's kind of like an acknowledgement of like, we can finally move forward past this.
Yeah.
And the movie fades out on Nicolas Cage's face, not screaming.
Not screaming.
I really like this movie.
I do too. I like I said, Soggy Mogwai.
A soggy Mogwai?
Yeah, Soggy one. Because there's just like, yeah, there's this. I already talked about it. It's like I think Nick did great. I think you could have found someone better for the whole husband-wife thing. That was my biggest.
The biggest thing with like he's coming off of an Oscar win from Leaving Las Vegas.
It's in the movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
His Oscar's in the movie.
Yeah, I meant to look for it. I forgot to look for it. But yeah, he's coming off his Oscar win. This is another big dramatic role.
Yeah,
and because he's going through like because he did this, he did Leaving Las Vegas and Snake Eyes. I want to say kind of like in
this era,
in unit like in whatever like yeah. So he's kind of like
Succession.
Thank you.
There you go. We got there
because like he started off like kind of like quirky kind of stuff in the late 80s, early 90s, and then like the mid 90s he started to do like more serious stuff. I mean, he did Face Off, which was just him being crazy, and then later on and then he did like Con Air, and he was like action hero.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's got range. I'm sorry.
The guy's got a weird career.
Yeah,
because like now his movies now are so bonkers.
I know, and it's so fucking great.
It's so fucking. Did you hear he's gonna be he's gonna be in the fucking Joe Exotic movie?
Oh, is he playing Joe?
Yeah, he's playing Joe.
Man.
I mean, it's on his list of stuff. Like he's gonna be Joe Exotic, and I was like, "That's
so good,
awesome."
I'm so excited for that.
I'm very excited for that. Also, because Joe is just such a fucking character of a human being.
I know.
And then put Nick
I hope
Cage.
all the proceeds of that go to like some type of like animal like freedom care stuff.
Yeah,
like some type of liberation, because that was the one thing a lot of people were like, well, where's like the exposure of this guy, Joe Exotic? Where's his money going right now for Netflix? But let's not talk about that. Let's finish off 8.
Yeah, okay.
It's like like I said, rewatching this movie, I think if it came out today, it'd still be rated R. I feel like this movie should be NC-17.
I'd be interested to see the original cut.
Yeah, that too, because
see what was
moved, what was cut.
Yeah. What did they take out? Like, what did you film?
Yeah. Well, I know. Like, I read that a lot of like the S&M stuff that they had, like the videos that they were showing, those were actual like films from like German movies and whatnot, and they just did their best to cut around the extreme scenes of it.
Yeah.
Like the sodomy and stuff like that. And like they would like lead into like it's about to happen and then cut away.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they originally kind of showed some of it. Which at that point, it's like now this is just turning into a pornographic movie.
Yeah,
That's
true. Too many. But yeah, I mean, I definitely say watch this, but know yourself.
Yeah,
because this may very much not.
This could be a very triggering movie for some people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like just know your audience in a sense. Like,
yeah, it's like Tommy and I both really enjoyed it. I think it's more just because of the narrative. We kind of like the darker, grittier stuff.
It's a solid thriller.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's on IMDb. It's listed as a horror, but
is it?
Yeah, it is.
Weird.
I really wouldn't consider this horror. It has got some gore in it. It is very intense, but I would definitely consider this more of like an extreme psychological thriller, kind of like Gangster Number 1.
Yeah, it's weird that we picked these two.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's no horror on here.
Why did I see horror then?
Yeah, like on IMDb, it's described as a crime drama mystery, and it's very much that, but with the theme of the underground world of porn. Of pornographic material. So it's just, I mean, you just got to think about, like, that's the thing. It's like you just need to really realize it is about finding the legitimacy of a snuff film, which is someone being murdered on film. And if you're not interested, you should know right there.
Snuff. I mean, yeah, that's definitely like that's just like the pinnacle, or that's just like the little bit of, like, snuff. I think it's more like it's the underground. It's a film that shows extreme illegal shit. So like or even like necrophilia would be a snuff film.
No, like snuff film is like specifically
just murdering somebody.
Well, it's showing a rape followed with a murder.
Really? I thought snuff was just kind of like an umbrella term for even like I guess because then like bestiality is that's its own thing.
Yeah.
Let's stop talking about this shit.
But yeah,
Like,
so that is what a snuff film is. So
Yeah.
that concept alone, if you're like that's too much, then don't watch this.
yeah, it's really weird that I'm like I really like this movie, but now I'm like I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. The snuff films anymore. It makes me feel weird.
It's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
And again, it's like it never overtly shows anything. A lot of it's very implied.
Yes.
So that's a saving grace if you can deal with that. But I can definitely see people turning this on and then the first 20 minutes being like, nope, off.
Yeah.
Like, and I totally get it.
Like,
but it's an interesting Nick Cage movie.
And one of the things I really love Nicolas Cage's performance in it because it's very much not your regular Nicolas Cage performance that you're used to seeing.
Yeah.
Because it is the grounded Nicolas Cage, and I feel like there's a lot of subtle acting he does in this movie that you don't see from him very often. And a lot of people don't give him credit for being able to do.
Yeah. And also too, it's like you just said, this is such a more grounded. Like I know a lot of people that don't like Nick Cage because he is so over the top a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much more grounded that it's an interesting watch for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you like screaming Nick Cage, you won't like this one. You know,
Yeah, it's true.
So, but yeah, I mean it's interesting. But
I mean it's got a 6.5 on IMDb. I actually kind of think it could be up towards more of a 7. In my opinion, but I can see why it kind of like is a little bit lower.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and everyone did a great job. Like really,
it's a great cast. It's such
really
a great
good
cast.
Yeah, so I would say give it a try. Maybe
Not for the faint of heart. Well, watch it at your own will.
In discretion.
Yeah.
But I guess is there any last minute thing you wanted to?
No, not really.
All right. Well, then join us next week for We Don't Know What.
Yeah, we need to figure that out. We'll be talking about that. But yeah, thanks for coming in and listening to us.
We'll talk to you later. And I don't know. All right, this is Tommy.
I was trying to figure out a Nicolas Cage quote to scream, but I guess I shouldn't. This is Jacob.
This is Tommy
and Jacob's mixtape.
All right, guys, have a good day. Bye.
Not the beat!